the sanction is loss of public funding for 1 election, 2 elections, 3 years, because in many countries we have yearly funding for parties, for ordinary activities of party, not only campaign public funding, and you threat them with the loss of this money coming into the campaign. In many countries where public funding is important, you have a way to press them. The third generation of sanctions design has to be with the Colombia empty seat, for instance, or with the loss of the mandate in Brazil. These sanctions, and I like your question because you make me think, these sanctions that can be effective, they are not sanctions against the organized crime lord or boss or whatever it is. They are sanctions again, oriented to the candidates or the parties. So if the sanction is well designed, parties and candidates will become your allies in rejecting money coming from these sources, probably. Not sure, but we have to try. The problem with the empty seat, you see in Colombia, the party, not only the person, the candidate elected, but also the party lost the seat in the Congress. And in the case of Brazil, it's only for the candidate. So the candidate is replaced by a candidate of the same party. The problem with this kind of sanction is constitutionality, or are they, can they match the constitutional system of the country? Because you are affecting elected mandates. And we are trying to protect democracy and representative relation, and then you are deciding, okay, you are out because you received money from these sources. So you have a problem there, and with the empty seat, you have another problem, which is the possibility to modify the majority-minority proportion in a Congress. And that, in Latin American countries, will create a very powerful tool to intervene in the political problem, in the political sphere, for the sake of changing the power in the Congress through false denounces or accusations. So we have to be very careful with this kind of extreme sanctions. But the people working in political finance is working in designing effective sanctions.
Can I just add one thing on the press and what we were talking about a little earlier about the interaction of the press and the lack of foreign press there. I think the other huge crippling effect that you're seeing across much of Latin America now, particularly in Venezuela, Bolivia, Ecuador, Nicaragua, is the criminalization of press investigations and the willingness to criminalize. If you look at the new laws just approved in Ecuador, anything that's, or in Venezuela as well, anything that's deemed to disturb the public or make them afraid is now illegal. Well, that's a pretty broad definition. You know, you can't publish pictures of people in the morgue because it scares children. Well, when you begin criminalizing, and Correa's suing for $10 million the columnists and things, is a huge deterrent as well to press investigations. I think in Central America you still see more the old model of the narcos threatening them, and it doesn't imply these other countries are narco-related in their censorship, but the criminalization of the free press across Latin America, across parts of Latin America, I think is extremely worrisome and creates an atmosphere in which it's very difficult for investigative journalism to take place, narco-related or traditional muckraking journalism taking place.
Good point.
Any other last questions or comments? If not, I'd like to thank you all for your questions and the discussion following the very enlightening, although depressing, remarks. There is, of course, a lot of hard work to be done, a lot of effort put forth. The organizations represented here are involved in the region in addressing these issues along side by side with IFES and others. We look forward to having you once again to IFES to discuss these matters in the future. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.